Hello. Let's see here. What's up, everyone? What monitors am I rocking? I am rocking the Atom A7Xs and a pair of KRK Rocket 8s. Down. Move this up. How's everyone's Sunday going? Best stereo imager? Who knows? Wow, there's already 41 people watching. Acid type bass tutorial? I'm not even joking. I just made one. Never tried Reaper. I believe I have. Reaper's pretty good. It's lightweight, and I think it's like really efficiently coded. Discord. Wow, 58 people. All right. So, geez. Let's see if the streaming will actually continue. Make a track exclusively using Serum. I might do that. How to compress with Ableton's compressor? It's pretty straightforward. You know, there's two modes. And by default, there's something called an automatic makeup gain. But essentially, yeah, it's you should start with the SSL compressor. It has very rigid ratios and kind of nothing's kind of variable like this. So yeah, if you kind of start with the SSL comp, you can kind of figure it out and see what's going on. What's the purpose of today's video? To do a proof of concept of streaming and to just, get some out there. We never get to hang out. Come on. Evening from the UK. Hello. When is it starting? I believe it's already started. Are you DJing or just producing? I have no DJ equipment. Just hanging out. Got a Sapphire sound card, but my microphone sound is bad. Any tips? Like, is it like distorted loud? Maybe you have phantom power on. Depends on which mic. Yeah, start with the SSL compressor. That'll really help you out. You hear the difference between FabFilter Pro C2 and Ableton stock? The FabFilter Pro Q would be no C2. Sorry, the compressor. A little bit different. It has different styles. Particularly like the vocal, the ratio is locked. It's really dependent on what's like coming in. And yeah, I guess it's yeah, I don't know. Like they both can do the same thing in theory, but it just comes down to workflow really. I don't know. You reach for something, you reach for a tool, and if that tool doesn't work, then you move on to another one. But usually, like as a utility, I'll just use the Ableton compressor. Funny enough, the Ableton compressor does not have oversampling, and Pro C does, which can matter if you have a very fast attack and stuff like that. Australia. Isn't it tomorrow in Australia? Australians live in the future. Interested in teaching private lesson? I'll pay. Well, the thing is I I have like really poop internet. I don't know if you can see in the video. I have to stream at a very low bit rate, and I haven't had any drop frames yet, but that's because no one else is on it. So yeah. he made the move from FL Studio to Ableton. I did the same thing. I did that in 2005. And the reason why is because I saw a video of Paul Van Dyke using Ableton 5, and he was using it live. And I was like, I want something to do everything live. And it's like great in a studio environment. It's up CK. Long time no chillaxin'. Helps out get faster internet 2017. Yeah. Well, I just need to like ramp up. If I ramp up and I keep on going and, get lots of videos out there and get some sample packs and project files, and I have a Patreon now, and I'm going to be like releasing like project files, stuff like that. Patreon has like a handy dandy like attachment feature for like Patreon only posts. So I can upload, a lot of stuff, basically anything. And, you just get access to that. I don't know. Videos will continue to be free, as they always have been. I'm excited about Bitwig 2. I haven't really been up to date with a lot of stuff. Bitwig 2, I believe they have like the like more modulation options. Their Bitwig 2, when they released Bitwig 1, they were very ambitious, and like even for like the first version, so when the second version was kind of like years down the pipeline, it was very ambitious. I'm not sure if they got everything they promised, like the modular system. I believe it's just modulation that they're focusing on. I have no. How much do I make per month? Why don't you just ask me what my blood type is? Seriously. I'm in a very interesting situation. Where am I from? I am from a very small island off the coast of Vancouver. I have deer and a creek, and the internet is very, very slow and unreliable. I don't even have access to cable. Like, it's that crazy. I need to get like a dish, and in order to do that, I either need to put it on a cliff or put it up in a tree. So I have to get a tree climber, and there's a setup fee, and then you're paying per gigabyte, whatever. I have to beam a satellite from here to Salt Spring, and then Salt Spring to Vancouver. You're very welcome, Link. How's life treating you? It's been years. It has been years. It's been like a while. Life is good. It was a difficult winter, just because of the elements, but it's doing pretty good. Holy crap, 91 people. Thanks for tuning in. Hold on, I got another question. Do you use stock plugins in Ableton, or do you use other plugins for mixing and mastering? I use a combination of both. I think, like the EQ8 is, very, very good. Mainly because oversampling, mainly because Andrew Simper, the guy who made the glue, who's like a genius in like audio DSP, he kind of tweaked the code, it sounds good with oversampling, and it's like a very neat utility. It's super easy to use. You can, do all sorts of fun stuff. There's mid-side modes, all that. It's great. The compressor, it's just, again, it's a utility, but if you want something a little bit more, mastering grade, you can absolutely use it. But, for like mastering and stuff, I've always used like the Pro L, the L2, the FabFilter Q2 or Q. This guy right here. What else? What else have I used? A lot of wave stuff. Yeah, just a lot of wave stuff. Certain, utilities like the tone booster. What's that one called? The bus compressor. This compressor is fantastic. It's a little bit more advanced than say the Ableton one, but there's a lot going on under the hood. What else? The Sonox, just like the the Oxford stuff. That the Oxford stuff just sounds, it's tried and tested. PSP, I've been getting back into like the older plugins I used to use, so the vintage warmer I'm using again. What else? Native Instrument, not so much. The RC reverb, RC24 reverb sound pretty good. What else have I been? Isotope. I've been using Isotope a tiny bit. Um, just maybe giving the maximizer a try and seeing what's up with that. Fab filter, of course. DMG. The equilibrium. Oops. Yeah. So this particular EQ is a bit more. Can really dial it in and like really repair stuff and dive in there. But the Pro Q I usually use like 9 times out of 10. Anyway, I'm going on a little bit too much, and yeah, that's basically that's it for now. Hopefully that answers the question. No, that's not a bad question to ask, but yeah, I'm not comfortable answering that. That was from Liverpool. What is up? Okay. Private lessons. I'd love to do that. Do I watch PewDiePie? I think I've seen a few videos. Russia is watching me. Uh-oh. Well, I'm watching Russia. You don't hear the difference between EQ8 and other EQs. It's down to like basically like parametric EQs, like these kind of visual ones where you take a thing, kind of all sound, the same. But if you're using like an SSL, let's say, a G channel, right? These, they're kind of a different workflow, and they like have a varying curve, and they're not as linear. And like, this is a lot different than say, this. But in theory, they do the same thing, but it's just a different way of working. It's not so much like the difference you hear, it's just, workflow and whether you're a purist or not, or like what you're into. Like a console style EQ, you tends to force you to use your ears more and really judge about what's going on. But hey, how do I like my push? I liked it ever since I got it. Great. What made you decide on using Ableton? I already answered this, and I switched from FL Studio. I think I was using like version 5 or whatever. It was in 2005, and I saw uh, an interview with Paul Van Dyke using Ableton on stage and using it in the studio. It's like I need to do that. So yeah. Ada Finita, damn, you're a wiener. I'm out of here. Any new hardware in the last few months? Not really. How often do you use sends and returns for mixing? And what are the benefits other than putting reverb delay? It's just, if you're using the same reverb, then it kind of makes more sense in the general scheme of things, because yeah, I don't know, like it's from like an old kind of adage where you'd only have like one reverb, so you'd have that in a send through your console, so you'd like have everything running into the reverb and then back, and that would be like your send, and that'd be like like lexicon or like a plate or something else, because like those units were very expensive, the digital ones especially. So yeah, you'd only have one, so you'd send everything to that. But now you can have like unlimited. So yeah, but I believe it kind of makes things a bit more cohesive in your mix or whatever. And what else? My mind just went blank. Which tends to happen. Oh, also, another consideration is if you are worried about CPU usage because like an intensive reverb can take a bit of CPU. Favorite saturation plugin? I like Saturn and Waves GTR, just basic stuff. I really like what VPS Avenger has done with their distortion sections. Are you lit or nah? No, I'm not. Any out there that are must-haves? A lot of plugins have demos, so just know the basics of and the general theory of say an EQ first. Like Ableton's EQ is pretty good, but for example, it doesn't have features like equilibrium where like there's different kinds of filters, you know, within it. So you can't really get in, like this is, quite advanced. Like I don't even know what half of these are. Like this is an API, and then like this would be like the SSL, and then Buttersworth is a type of sciencey filter. I don't freaking know. And there's like also you can map frequency to a key, so you can EQ like with a keyboard. Same with the Fab filter Pro Q. Ableton, you kind of have to like open up a web app and figure out what frequency a particular key is if you have like one note bass or something like that. Um, yeah, that's basically it. I tend to use a lot of everything because I want to cover a lot of things. But like workhorses like Pro Q and stuff like that. You got to have at least one EQ VST, in my opinion. Videos on impulse response plugins like Max for Live, Convolution Reverb. That is soon. I have that written down. My big list of videos to do. Side trance track to finish. Yeah, I'd like to do a side trance track. That'd be great. That's obviously on the list because it's just fun to make, and I haven't done it in a while. My first one wasn't that good. I want to redo a lot of my videos, like just redo everything. From Berlin. Hello, hello. Do I use OTT? I actually don't really. For those wondering, OTT is the Multiband Dynamics preset called OTT. And you drop that in there, and it makes things like leads sound more YOLO. It's basically like a Multiband Dynamics preset within Ableton. And then Steve Duda made a freeware plugin, extrarecords.com/free or something. And that's in there. And it's basically the same thing. Also, I believe the multiband dynamics is the same thing that you would see in Serum, the multiband mode, or what am I doing? The compressor. You hit multiband, and I believe this is like OTT like, maybe, I don't know. Can you go over mid-side EQ? I've done that in a previous video. That might take a little while, but the mid-side EQ. So I'll just briefly. So, there's the mono signals and then there's the stereo signals. And the stereo signals are the difference between the left and the right. That makes any sense. So basically, a mid-side EQ is doing math and discerning the sum of the two parts of the left and right. So when you have your channel mode to mid-side, and you take away like all the mid, you get something like sounds like this. This is basically what Ableton is doing. Is if you increase the width all the way to 200, you get just the side material. So do this right now. Play something and increase the width. Drop a utility on, increase the width to 200, and that is just the side material, the stereo material. And then if you move it all the way down to 0, that is the mono material. And there's like mixtures in between. So yeah, that will kind of give you an idea of what mid-side EQ is. So from there, say if you use a mid-side EQ, then you have direct control over the stereo or the mono components of it. I'm still on Ableton Live 32 because I'm weird. I got a lot of questions to catch up on, and that guy was banned. Big difference between Fab Filter EQ and Ableton. I already covered. Yeah, I'm having a good day. What have you missed so far? I've been talking about plugins, which is not a bad thing. Yeah, I haven't gotten around to doing the universal audio stuff. I do have a card, but I don't have the activation that I need in order to do them, so they need to get back to me. I actually went down to California to get it. Oh. What's a good way to glue stuff to... Oh, yeah. Oh, you're making a statement. Yeah, I want to do another Let's Remix, but I'm just waiting for something to come out that tickles my fancy that I can do. How do you get rid of my laziness and get on producing? That is a struggle and a half. It's very common. It happens to a lot of people. So we're 22 minutes in and 0 dropped frames, streaming at an abysmal 336 kilobits per second. Any tips on stereo width? I'm gonna have to do a video on that because there's tools that you can look at, do comparison. You know how you can do like EQ matching? There's a way to do like stereo image, stereo wideness matching. How many hours a day do I spend in front of Ableton? Far too many. You ever match your compressor release times with the tempo? That's useful for like sidechain compression. Sounds, but generally for like dance music, you can just get away with like manually setting it and stuff like that. And like the release times are kind of dependent on the speed of the transient and how long it's above the threshold, so it's not entirely accurate. As far as I know, I haven't really experimented with that. What would the order of operations be for processing and mixing? I think like a good starting point is the Isotope Ozone 7 basic layout. Like they thought ahead and like, so say when you get rid of all these, right? What you do is you'd EQ out and kind of repair things, maybe, like high pass and get everything. No, don't do any mid-side stuff. And then you'd move to a vintage EQ to add some color, and then you'd add more color and compress, like a vintage tape will compress, an exciter if you want, and then a multi-band compressor, and then a compressor, and then a multi-band EQ if you want. And then you play around with the imaging, and then you repair the post EQ, you add mid-side, and then you can use either a vintage limiter or a maximizer or both. So this is actually a pretty neat workflow. It really depends on the style and what you're thinking of. 119 people watching. That is fantastic. Thanks for the comments too. Catching up. I have a tendency to have too much, but using a lot of stuff gets expensive. That is true. So that's why, like, Like you can build a house with a saw and a hammer, right? And some nails, and a measuring tape. You don't need like a bunch of different kinds of measuring tape. I'm talking out of my ass right now. I don't even know. But, like if you have basic tools and Ableton comes with those basic tools, you can make really compelling tune. I've seen it done. I haven't. Think. Uh, yeah, I have that one written down. It's the synthesize sustained cymbals. I'm gonna be getting on that more of like synthesizing drums and percussion. How much panning is too much? Um, Jeez, I don't even know how to like you can use yeah. It really depends on the style of the track. Like pop music is very panned. Like old progressive rock stuff is like extremely panned. But generally, like I pan, things like 14 on each side, left and right. Like hi hats and hats and stuff like that like to be panned. Um, yeah, and then like leads, you kind of have things sitting back and forth. Uh, do I work as an engineer? Kinda. What did I learn? I just hit the ground and figured it out, and I'm still kind of figuring it out. I wonder if you are the only female in here. Don't say that. You're about to get swamped. Good alternative for Waves Maximizer. FabFilter Pro L, pretty good. Right, okay. Do I have a formal training in piano? I'm not a musician at all. Like, yeah, no formal training or anything like that. I'm a high school dropout. 121 watching. That's cool. Do I use a? Yeah, you can use a LFO tool. Is like a million and one uses. Fantastic. So like, say, you know, like you just drop your LFO tool and you have a kick. You can hit the display waveform, and you can actually shape your kick like you're using a compressor. Have it linear or like not even linear, and you can just shape your kick and have like full control over uh, dynamics and volume and stuff like that. It's great, you know. And yeah, for like dance music when it's like on every like 4 times a bar, good. What do I think about the new Roland Boutique? I actually went to like a producer meetup thing, and the Canadian president of Roland did a presentation, and yeah, they obviously want money and they want to listen to their customers. And he basically said flat out, it's like we will never reissue the 303 or 808 or 909. We'll never reissue them because he basically said they don't have the parts anymore. So what they are doing is they're releasing kind of emulations. And what do I think about it? I think it's good, but the D16 did this like 10 years ago. You can get, the D16 stuff. Junos have been emulated to high hell, and you know, like what more do you want? Studio One, yeah, Studio One's pretty good for recording and stuff like that. What do I think of the Focusrite Scarlett series? I don't know. I have the Focusrite Pro 40. And I think it's pretty good. You know, Firewire can't go wrong. It's great. How do I compress my kicks? Lately, I've been using LFO tool. It's great. Limiter at the beginning or end of the master? I would say at the end. Um, let's see. Can you show us how to implement hardware effects in FL Studio? Dude, maybe, but I'm sure there's better qualified people to do that. I am not an FL Studio expert. Even though it was my first DAW, but like now it's gotten quite advanced. So in terms of like routing and stuff like that, I route in a very like menu centric way with like drop downs and stuff. There's more like I don't even know. Anyway, oh, we got a first timer over here. Synthwave, darkwave, maybe. Do I have silence? Yes, I do. Acoustic versus electronic. I've been recording a lot of acoustic stuff. Here, I'll show you. Check out the other webcam. Oh, maybe not. There it is. See that back there? Those are a couple acoustic instruments. I gotta tell you, the banjo's very weird to tame. But yeah, like a lot of analog and acoustic stuffs. What I've been up to. Audio playback latency. I use Windows 10, and Windows 10 is by far the most superior OS for audio. Like they really, really nailed it. I can run, a bunch of channels all in 16 channels, and there's like direct monitoring, and like no one can hear. No differences in latency using direct monitoring. But yeah, funny thing enough, the vocalist I'm working with could actually hear the ADAT latency because I have a uh, a 8-channel preamp that uses ADAT or light pipe or whatever. And she's like, "Yeah, there's a delay on this," and I was like, "What? How can you even hear that?" But yeah, there is a delay. But using like the 8 inputs, there's no delay. Have I considered redoing the Ableton tutorial for beginners? I did redo it. I did the Ableton Ultimate course. So that has been redone. But yeah, maybe I'll redo that when, like Ableton 10 comes out or something. I tried the invisible limiter. Yes, it's pretty cool. There's oh god, there's the gain matching feature on that, which pretty useful. But I haven't kind of run it through any tests. But I do know you can like 64 times oversampling that bad boy. So just gonna get comfortable. Do you ever use keyboard synths that are in your room? Oh yes, yes I do. I love synths, like hardware synths. There's just a different thing about them. I tend to enjoy digital ones. I don't really dig analog or stuff like that. Country D&B maybe. Are the Waves plugins really that CPU intense? They were 10 years ago, but yeah. Is there a go-to exciter? Exciting is it means a lot of things. So even like a tape emulation could be an exciter. Uh Extreme compression and like parallel compression could be an exciter. Um an exciter is basically something that's single or multi-band in the case of like a mastering kind of chain that let's see that say yeah, we use Saturn, right? So Saturn can be used to like split things up, and you can have like a warm tape that'd be an exciter, and then you kind of mix that in and out to add excitation, right? right? Or you can just mash it. So it's kind of like a low level kind of something rather in there. And yeah, that's basically it. I think Saturn is pretty good. Like anything FabFilter is pretty good. Do I use a MIDI keyboard? No, not really. I have push, but you know, it's easy to draw things in too. Like you can do Photoshop work without that pen. Am I reading the YouTube live chat? Yes, I am. I'm a little bit behind. What is the most weird way to use LFO tool? Oh, geez. Using it for its intended purpose might be pretty weird. How do I EQ a track so the beat doesn't lose power? Every time I put a snare on the lead, it takes the power from it. Yeah, you just kind of need to EQ and compress it a bit, like take away like the body. Like I don't know, it depends on what kind of snare, it depends on what kind of lead. Do I know a company that makes sound cards like Universal Audio and but host all plugins? No. Like a VST DSP accelerated card, those don't exist. Do I go to school for music production? If you want to. You don't need to though. Do I have any vintage hardware? No. Really? Is a Nord Rack 3 vintage? I don't know. Oh, I have a 3630. I tried the reverb. I have tried the reverb. It sounds pretty cool. Plucked sound on silent. B. Oh. Pretty easy, I guess. Oh yeah. I used to make those all day. Say you like your silent one, right? And it. What the heck is going on here? Sounds so thin. That's why. Ears don't fail me. Right? Groundwork. Yeah, I went there. That place was pretty cool. So, you're gonna want a low pass filter. And then you will go to your mod envelope, attach that to the cutoff, then increase the value here. Right? Question? Flux sound, yeah. So then you add some voices. And then you essentially drowned it in delay and reverb. And if you really want to get crazy, you can say bring threshold down. Anyway. Full and clean, that is a lifelong journey. Figure that out. This has an interface called SoundGrid. I believe that's just a computer in a box. Could be anyway. So yeah, keep your questions coming if you'd like. I got some dropped frames, but whatever. Unless you want me to do something else. I am a monkey, I will dance. You're asking about studio monitors? Well, yeah, the best kind of bang for your buck would be like the ARKs as your first ones. They're also, pretty decent. They have like a lot of clubby low end, so you get that kind of satisfaction. Other than that, I've never actually played Overwatch. Yeah, what do I think of cymatics? I don't know. Like they keep on emailing me. They want to be like, "Hey, we'll pay you if you put a link to our site on your videos." And then I don't know. How can I do that? I have my own store, blackjack and hookers. Do I have Snapchat? No, I do not. I don't have Snapchat. I deleted my Instagram. Oh yeah, and what synth for big bass lines? I enjoy big bass lines. I guess Serum, yeah. Serum's pretty good. Um Alex, I'm gonna try to answer that question in another video. I have a plan for that. Ableton's most underused plugins. Jeez. Underused. I'm not sure what other people are using, but I don't really use, say, what don't I really use? I've used everything at least a couple times. I don't use the vocoder. I leave that alone. Maybe the looper. No, I don't use that. Erosion. I don't really use that. Yeah, there's just some where I'm just like, I'm not that creative ever. And then the instruments. I only use VST instruments really. What makes Serum go super crazy in CPU use? Maybe the amount of voices you have and the whether you have oversampling or not. Like some are pretty crazy. Some of the presets. You go to global, then you have like what kind of oversampling you have. I tend to leave it at 2. But yeah, if you load up your unison, like mine jumps up to 7. I don't know what yours jumps up to, but you know, there's a lot of math to go on. Use your filter. Just modulate a bunch of it. Try to max it out just for fun. Why? Then I guess if you have like a delay and heavy reverb. Okay. Favorite sound packs? Vengeance. Why not? Do I ever get tired of live? No, not really. Kerbal Space Program. Jeez, I played that a little bit too much. Where's your lava lamp? I don't know. I don't like hot. Good. Um, best free VST instruments. Helm's pretty good. Helm is like, I don't know, pretty neat looking, free. Uh, does all sorts of things, and yeah, it's just fun. What else can you say? And you can select different things. Yeah. Yeah, there's a neat little format filter too. Yeah. Uh, how loud should I listen to my mix when setting levels? Basically, as loud as a conversation. It's okay to like boost things to get a feel for it, but don't mix loud. It's just counterintuitive. You get ear fatigue. It's not good. Is it possible to make good music with free stuff? Yes, it is. I use audio for percussion. That's just me. What are challenge videos? Give me your idea. Hello, great. The challenge. Like I should do the cinnamon challenge. What sounds better? Excess virus or serum? That's a very difficult question to ask because I'm very biased. I have 6,666 followers on SoundCloud. That's cool. I like those numbers. Do I use grooves? Sometimes. Thoughts on that 816 bar loop? What you can do is you can drop in a track that you like, and then use that as a reference, and then do your arrangements from there. Mix an Aphex Twin. Oh, not the cinnamon. You and a friend ask each other 10 questions. I don't have a friend. No, I was joking. What are my favorite mics? Right now I have an NT1A, two SM57s, a Beta 58, two SM58s, and yeah, I think the NT1A is pretty good. I also have an AT2020. Implement hardware effects into FL Studio. I don't know how to do that. Tons of dudes doing videos from Canada. Well, what else are we gonna do? It's too cold to do anything. Favorite compressor for sidechain is LFO Tool compressor, technically. Technically, it might be. Yeah, the Ableton one's pretty good also. Favorite albums of all time in terms of mixing and mastering. Which ones do I use as a reference? I use the early Deadmau5 ones. I think they're pretty good. Really depends on what I'm doing. I haven't done much mixing and or mastering lately. I have to make the tracks first, so. What was the first real hardware gear you got? It was this thing right here. This is the Virus TI Snow. That was my first thing. Besides like a MIDI controller, that was weird looking. Tips about touring. Good starting point. Yeah, that is very difficult to do. I just went on a tour, not with me, but with a friend, and yeah, it's hard work. To get a good manager, tour manager, and yeah, I don't know. I think the EDM touring and it's basically unless you're like you know Avicii or Martin Garrix or Hardwell, no one will give a fuck. And I just use a swear, right? It's hard, but there are little pockets I've noticed in cities, but generally it's like, do I use any Electron hardware? No, I do not. Bitwig 2 any good? No, I haven't had it. Do they have their public beta? They probably don't have their public beta, do they? They really should. Coming early 2017. It should be at some point at 2007. Yeah, the Electron hardware is pretty good. They just released a digital kind of sampler thing. Um, Other than that, yeah, well, outside of my price range currently. Um, any games I like right now? Um, no, I haven't. I haven't even started Steam in a little while. Uh, if I were to like want to play a game right now, it'd probably be The Forest. It's a game made in Vancouver, and yeah, it's pretty creepy. Like I get scared because, and the thing is I kind of live in a forest that looks like that, so it's like, what the fuck? Demos use what is called a distressor in a sense. What would be a good example of a VST distressor, and how would I use it? So he's using the Empirical Labs distressor. He's also using thermionic vulture culture. It's a big thing with a bunch of tubes in it. Um, the distressor, there's a VST that Slate just made that's based on that. There's also a the modern plugins which are free. The modern, what's it called? Not Apophis, Deathcore. This is the kind of emulation of it. Uh, Not quite, but it does have an interesting character, I guess. But yeah, Slate Digital, they have a somewhat of a better distressor kind of thing. It's just a really interesting. It's The distressor is a analog compressor that emulates tape. So it's an analog thing emulating tape. So if you emulate that, you're emulating an analog thing emulating tape, which amuses me. Overwatch or not, I've never played it. I don't even know what it's about. Like I know it's like first person. Is it kind of like an arena thing, like Counter Strike? Yeah, I prefer not to support Blizzard. Have I ever done music for video games? Kind of. I've been using Unity a lot lately, and yeah, playing around with Unity and audio and stuff like that. I really enjoy it. Um, Track should have a different mastering version for live performances. That might not be a bad idea, but that's just another. Yeah, I don't know. No idea. That's actually not a bad idea. You're very welcome, Jeremy. Or Jeremy. Favorite genre of music to produce? Lately it's been like fancy stuff. I really like techno, but I haven't done much of anything lately. Need to make more techno. I believe I do. That's not a bad assumption. Yeah. So Bitwig to I've already applied for the beta license. Yeah, I should eat. And they updated their spectrum analyzer, their phaser, their pitch shifter, a tree monster, uh, one note harmonizer. That's note echo, note latch. City. Better hardware integration. Oh, neat. CV. Yeah, so they're basically making more devices, but can you open up the devices and play around? Thing. EST3 support. That's that's pretty cool. Yeah, I gotta email those guys. Do I even use hardware effects in my studio? Uh, you cannot open devices in Bitwig 2. Okay. Maybe that's for version 3 or 2.1. Anyway, uh, I think I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna to eat some food, but this was a pretty cool hangout. Um, yeah. Uh, so keep a lookout for more videos I'm gonna be doing. Yeah, hopefully we can do another one of these soon. And let's go scene. So yeah, I'm gonna do some videos. So if you have any ideas, just let me know in on Twitter or something, because this chat's about to go down. So yeah, that's basically it. Happy Sunday. Have a good one. Uh, take care, everyone. High fives all around.